Life Audio.
Welcome to But Jesus Drank Wine
and other stories that kept us stuck. I'm Mead.
and I'm Christy.
In this podcast, we'll explore the stories that kept us, stuck, wanting to drink and not wanting to drink, all at the same time.
Join us as we show you that freedom from alcohol does not have to mean a life sentence of misery and missing out.
But actually means living an authentic life full of peace, joy, and purpose.
Hello, my beautiful friend, Christy here. We are kicking off a really fun 6-part series starting today, going through my book, Love Life Sober, a 40-day alcohol fast to rediscover your joy, improve your health, and renew your mind. If you're listening to this live in July and August 2025, we have queued this up for the gals who want to join our live coached September 40-day fast in our community. One of our great joys and privileges is being able to coach through this 40-day fast a few times a year in this community. There is a link to join us in the show notes. We are already taking signups and getting all ready for you gals. And we always have all the information to get in touch with us, learn more about coaching and our community in the show notes. There's also a link to get the book, Love Life Sober, a 40-day alcohol fast, in the show notes as well. So everything that you need is there. We are also going to be dropping these episodes in the community during our fast. Because of time constraints, obviously, we can't dive into everything that's in the book. There is so much more in there. We're just scratching the surface in these episodes to give you some of the highlights about what I write about and what we coach through together. So without further ado, here is part 1 of our Love Life Sober 40-day fast podcast episodes. And again, if you want to join us for the September 2025 40-day fast, we kick off on September 8th that week. That gives you plenty of time to get the kids back in school and come join us. Head to the link in the show notes to sign up for the September 2025 40-day fast. I can't wait to meet you.
I was excited and thinking about what we're getting ready to do with this 6-parter on Love Life Sober because
Wait a minute, are you really excited because this is a multiple parter that we've never done this many parts back to back before? Because
living my best life.
Yeah.
I finally get a part 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6. It took you having to write a book. It took you having to write a book. So could you write another book so I can get a multi-part series for the podcast? Okay. Could you do that? Could you work on that? Okay.
Yeah. So today this is part 1 of a 6-part series that we are going to talk through some of the highlights of Love Life Sober, a 40-day alcohol fast to rediscover your joy, improve your health, and renew your mind. I actually got an email this morning that said she just calls it the pink book, which I thought was so cute. She's like, I'm 100 days thanks to the pink book. I was like, oh, you're so cute.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's so appropriate. So cute.
So obviously the book is a 40-day alcohol fast, or maybe you didn't know that, but it is. It's a 40-day alcohol fast. And so today we are going to chat through some of the highlights. And this is so fun for me because we've actually never talked it through like this, where we both riff on some of our favorite things and you explain things in a way that is so relatable and understandable to people. So there's maybe stuff for the readers that have already read this that will even help support, clarify things that are in the book. But I thought we could go through days 1 to 7 today.
Yeah.
And I've just pulled out some of the highlights. And so for day 1, one of the things that I think is most important is to remember that when you're doing an alcohol fast or wherever you are on your alcohol-free journey is to have an experimental mindset, right? To act like a scientist or a data collector. And by that, we mean that if you've been drinking for decades like we were before we stopped drinking, we had a lot of data, a lot of information about what life was like as a drinker. But what we didn't have was a lot of data about how life is as a non-drinker. And so what our minds end up doing is making a lot of assumptions about what that's going to be like without any actual information, data, or lived experience to support those fears and those assumptions. And when we're working with our gals in the missing piece, our small group in the community, this is something that we talk about over and over again is having an experimental mindset, right?
Yes. When I was stuck in the drinking cycle, I was so sure I got to that place of awareness. I want to do something about this, but I stayed stuck for a long time because I was so sure that life without alcohol or life trying every single day to not drink alcohol the only way that I thought that you could live without alcohol is like the traditional kind of recovery way where it's like white-knuckling maybe every single day. I had so many assumptions I was so sure about what that life would look like without alcohol. And I'm so grateful that I figured out and I learned that having this like, experimental mindset, being curious, which gosh, if someone could do a little count, how many times we've said the word curious or curiosity on this podcast, that'd be really funny to see. But that's something I think that when we're stuck too, that's not something that's available to us. The curiosity that comes from that we get to have when we learn about this way of doing this work. And so yeah, it's so important to be curious. It's like someone in our TMP group the other day was like, I, I didn't realize I wasn't even open to the possibility that life
Yeah.
without alcohol could be so free and feel so good. And as long as I was stuck in that place of no, it's just definitely not, then guess what? There's no way that it was entering into that. It didn't matter how many times I did those like 30-day fasts or breaks or whatever, because I already had this pre-drawn conclusion that it's gonna be miserable. And so yeah, maybe I saw some good things, but my mind like mindset is so important from the start. Experimental mindset all day long. We get to be in that place of observation it's so cheesy, but I'm like, be an investigative journalist. You're going into
Yeah.
this like thing and you're gonna just see and just start collecting data around what could it look like. You could always go back to drinking. You could always
Yeah.
decide, no, this isn't the life for me, and I'm gonna go back. And what have you lost? But now you know.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And there are so many assumptions that we make, and one of them I think that is so huge is just that I can't do this. And so
Yeah.
when you were just talking, like I was just thinking about our best friend, Dr. Warren, and like his book, Hope is the First Dose. That
Yeah.
is actually the first thing that you need is the ability to believe that this is possible for you. And I feel like that keeps coming up lately too with gals that we're talking to of just, I don't think I can do this. I've done it before, or the women that have had a stretch and then are
Yeah.
back to feeling stuck because they tried moderation and then they just feel like they can't. And that is so important to remember that assumption that you can't hope you can, right? And also that it ties back into the Romans. This is hard, but it's hard and it produces perseverance and therefore hope, right? So just keep going and keep gathering data, keep being an investigative journalist, just keep learning. It doesn't matter how long, quote unquote, that this takes. God's timing is perfect. And so just keep in that place of curiosity. Yeah, so
And that's
good.
and that's what I love about your book being a 40-day fast, and I know we'll talk about trapdoor and all of that too, but just going into it with, I'm doing this for 40 days. I'm doing this to collect the data. I'm doing this to see, and I'm doing it with this open mind because what if it's possible? I don't know that it's possible or not. I have all of these gals now in my life, in the community, whatever they're saying is possible. Look at them. Yes, I can see that it's true, but I just don't know that it's possible for me. Just go into it with a 40-day fast, take alcohol off the table, and just see what could be possible for you. I think that is where sometimes we set ourselves up for quote unquote air quote failure before we even start when we're doing it from a different mindset when we're like, oh well, I mean, I have to do this or, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And that brings us so neatly and tidily into the next thing I was going to say that is important is that, yes, this is a 40-day fast, but if that seems completely overwhelming to you, we're talking about looking at alcohol and how you feel and how you want to show up in your life and if you feel better without it for 40 days. So this is not a fast where if you get to day 4, day 3, day 2, whatever it is, day 10, and you have a drink that you have to give up. One of the things that we're both so big on, and we did a really great episode. I'll link it in the show notes. It was episode 30 on You Don't Have to Count Days. And then we also had a really great episode. It was episode 45 on You Don't Have to Say Forever. Counting days is really motivational for some gals. It's really not for other gals because so many gals, and I don't know if this is ingrained in just what we think we might know from a traditional recovery standpoint, but that you have to start over, right? You have to go back to day one. And we are here to tell you loud and clear that you do not have to go back to day one ever. You get to just keep counting. So if you had a streak of 3 days alcohol free, you're feeling good, you had a growth point on day 4, then count from day 4 the next day. Right?
Yeah. Well, and for if this is the first episode that someone's tuning into to listen to a growth point, the way that we talk about them, what we often hear people say is, "Oh, I slipped." And if they are counting days, it is that kind of mentality of, "I had a drink. I had set out to do this and I had a drink and ooh, I slipped or I fell back or now I have to start over." And when that happens, when you drank and you didn't intend to because you're doing a fast and you've committed to that, we're talking about it, we're reframing it as a growth point because that is what it is. It's an opportunity for you to look at all of the things that went into that. There's data to be mined in that, and simply asking God to reveal to you what was in that growth point that you need to see that now can help inform you on your journey. And so when we get in that place of, oh, I've made a mistake, I've slipped up, it starts feeding that mentality of, oh, I can't do this, or life will be miserable, or whatever. But if we can get curious about what we learned from that, what led to you drinking that night, though you took it off the table for the next 40 days, but all the things, how did you eat that day? How did you sleep? What were some of your thoughts? How did you feel that day? What happened that led to that? And then what did you experience? So you're still collecting data. You're still collecting experiential knowledge that says one way or the other about alcohol. But if we stay in that like open, curious space, we're not going to get stuck in that shame and blame cycle. We're less likely to get stuck in that shame and blame cycle where we typically do if we frame it as this slip or mistake. It's not. It all can be used. God can use any of it for good. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just gonna say, and I feel like we're learning that so much right now, just or at least I am in the Bible recap, right? That even the people that mess up, God can bend the sin exactly to his will and purpose. And I think that's what's also really, really special about I mean, there's so many special things about doing this with God and putting Christ at the center of it. But if you can take that growth point and ask God, like, what he's trying to teach you, use this as a point of growth, right? Exactly what we're talking about. What is he trying to teach you? I think that that's what I'm seeing too. The more gals that we talk to, is just that there's so many God given lessons to be learned, a lot of them not to do with alcohol, right? And not that he is, because we had that beautiful episode with Pastor David on temptation, not that he is luring us into temptation or wants us to sin, but he can redeem it and use it and have it be a refining point for us and a molding point. And so if you truly put Christ at the center of your journey, it's just it's a game changer.
It is a game changer. And it's the growth point can turn into a connection point with God. And when you're stuck in a drinking cycle, I've yet to meet a single person stuck in the drinking cycle that feels connected to God the way that they want to be connected to God or should be connected to God or have been connected to God before. And
Yeah,
so
that's so good.
that turn towards okay, God, what can you show me in this that I can use for this journey? Like, what do you want me to see about this? That's a connection point with God. That will help feed you. I mean, you're turning back to God. Like, that's huge right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So good. Imagine stepping into a vibrant, welcoming community where faith, friendship, and freedom from alcohol come together. That's exactly what you'll find inside the But Jesus Drank Wine community. Each week, our members gather for connection calls, a time to share honestly, grow spiritually, and support one another in a warm, grace-filled space. And for women who are already free from alcohol, we offer a monthly connection call just for you, a space to stay grounded in your faith, share your victories, and continue growing in freedom. With a loving leadership team, a dedicated prayer request board, and connection opportunities across every time zone, you never have to walk this journey alone. We also offer masterclasses with expert guests, optional book and Bible studies, and so much more to help you grow in your faith and strengthen your sobriety. For those ready to go even deeper, our small group coaching space, The Missing Piece, offers weekly recorded coaching calls and personalized support for women committed to breaking free from alcohol. Whether you're sober curious or years alcohol free, if you love Jesus or want to fall in love with him again, you'll feel seen, supported, and strengthened here. Ready to join the sisterhood? Head over to butjesusdrankwine.com/community or click the link in the show notes to learn more. We can't wait to meet you. One of the things that we love to do when we're coaching through a 40-day fast in the community is talk about our feeling-based goals. And by that, we are talking about if you are setting a goal based on never drinking again or a particular number of days, that can feel really heavy. It could feel like you're going to fail because maybe you didn't make it that amount of days last time. I was coaching a gal recently who literally was anymore because she had done streaks and sets and all of days and all these things and fasts. And I was just, let's figure out how you want to feel, because that's why we're here, right? Is to get you feeling your best. What were some of your feeling-based goals, like when you first started this?
I was so aware when I was stuck in a drinking cycle and I finally was willing to consider that alcohol might be part of the problem, though there were no like outward detrimental effects in my life. I was first coming into awareness of alcohol maybe playing a role. What I wanted so badly was peace. I was so aware of the internal conflict and tension and noise in my head and my inner world that was just off, that I really wanted to feel peace. I knew what I had was the opposite of peace. And along comes comes the joy and the love and the patience. It comes the fruit of the spirit. If there was, I mean, my fruit of the spirit tree was dead and dried up. Okay. Like I was not experiencing fruit of the spirit because I was not connected to God. I was not. Yeah. And so those would be the things that I would point to now and say, that is what I ended up getting, that I didn't even totally know that that's what I wanted. But peace was a big one. Peace was a big one. Things were off. I had so much noise in my head and there was no peace, which then created all of these situations where I was snapping at the kids or snapping at Todd or just I put on a good face for everybody else in the outside world. But yeah, that I knew that peace. And when I considered exploring my relationship to alcohol, and I thought there was only this one way of doing it, the traditional recovery way, where I would have to white knuckle every single day for the rest of my life, try not to drink. I also knew that was not peace. And I knew I wanted to not want to drink. And that would be the thing that would give me the peace on the inside. What about you?
Yeah, that's so good. I wanted more energy. I just wanted to feel like I was not just trying to literally survive until 5 p.m. every single day, just trying to. I had this just when I first started thinking about doing this, just this really heavy realization that I was like wishing my life away because I would wake up and I would feel horrible and I was desperate to just somehow survive until survive until I could open up that wine glass again. And all of a sudden that just felt so heavy, right? And I didn't want to live my life like that. I wanted to feel Like I was living authentically, like I was living the woman that God was, quietly calling me to be. And that kind of transitioned so well into what we talk about in day 3 of the fast, which is to count your fruit, count your fruit of the spirit as opposed to counting your glasses. And one of the things that you can look at if you're looking at your relationship with alcohol, wondering if it's serving you or not, is it robbing you of love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, self-control, right? The self-control is like an obvious one, right? If you can't stop
Yeah.
after one glass, it's hard to have, but it's also hard to have self-control over a highly addictive substance, right? So you're starting on way on the back foot with that anyways. But if those are what we are promised from our Father is these fruit when we are living with the Holy Spirit. And so if you can't feel those things because alcohol is getting in the way, just get curious about it. Just get curious about it. And also how would it feel to have that be your goal, right? When we say my goal is to have more peace and joy, that's something that feels like it's a good thing. It doesn't feel like a detrimental place of us living in deprivation or lack. And it also you can get more LJP, love, joy, peace, all the things, even if you're drinking every once in a while. And I say that not because I think that that's a good idea, but if we're talking about goal setting and feeling better, you get a little bit of peace and you want more of it, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I also was super aware that I wanted to be more deeply connected to my most important people and to God.
Yeah.
And yet I felt like and that was part of the thing that was keeping me stuck because I really thought that alcohol was helping me feel connected to people, but like connection was something that I really wanted, and I didn't have words for it then, but I can so
Yeah.
easily see that that is one of the ways that why I was so resistant to even look at this at first is because I had those conflicting thoughts that it helps me connect, and it's actually disconnecting me from my most important relationships, God included. And so when we talk about setting a feeling based goal, what's so great about that is so often like the goal, and sometimes people don't even know that this is their goal until it starts happening, but a closer relationship with Jesus, a deeper walk, like actual following Jesus. That's what's so great about this. Starting it fast and doing it around a 40-day, doing it around feelings based goal. It's already, no matter if you drank or didn't drink, but you're in the work, are you moving towards a closer relationship to Jesus? Are you feeling more connected to other people? That is one of my favorite things. I've never seen it in the thousands of women, thousands of people that we've spoken to. I've never seen anyone say, yes, now without alcohol, I'm, everything is, the connection is worse. The connection gets better. It may temporarily
Time.
feel
Yeah.
different. Yeah, it takes time. But I think that's worth noting too, because I think that is a place where that helps build that momentum as we keep going. When we see that, yes, I am experiencing a little taste of joy here and a little more peace, and I am feeling my relationship with Jesus grow. Okay, that's a proof of progress. That's a pep. That's what keeps us going, not how many days you have sober or not.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so, so good. In day 4, one of the things that I talk about is how we develop all these beliefs that we have about alcohol. And this is something that I was just floored by when I started paying attention to it, right? I'll never forget I was like driving the kids to a movie and there was a billboard, and I think it was Christmas time, it must have been, and it showed a bunch of people coming together with drinks in their hands, and I think it even said the word connect or something on it. It was so blatant, like it
Yes.
was wild. Yeah. And then we got to the movie, and I don't know how this happened because it must have been a kid's movie, but it was an advert for a scotch or gin, I don't know, whatever brand, and it was a grandfather and a grandson drinking that whatever brand gin out of the flask, and the whole thing was that they were having this incredible relationship bond because they were drinking said booze. And so this messaging right? That comes to us not just from billboards and advertising, but it comes to us from our family. It comes to us from our churches. We have gals from a variety of faith backgrounds in our community where they have different beliefs about alcohol based on where they grew up in church, right? We've got like the Southern Baptists where it's like nowhere near allowed, and then we've got like the Anglicans over here. I'll just speak for the churches that I've been to that like the wine is big busted out at the church barbecue, right? And so many beliefs, family, social media, mommy wine culture, the messaging that comes through that through social media. And so the point of all this is just to get really, really curious about where your beliefs come from so you can start like leaning into truth. Is there an example of like a belief that you gathered through, and do you remember where the kind of like origin was?
I mean, for sure that it was. I mean, that's what kept me stuck is like that connection piece. Like that's what I obviously was influenced to believe from all of
Yeah.
those sources that you just mentioned. But the cool thing about the paying attention to what those stories are and how they're influencing us is all of our thoughts and our beliefs are what influence our actions, our behaviors, and the things that
Yeah.
we do. And so, like, when we talk about how this isn't a behavior modification situation that we're doing here, this is a getting to like the roots here and looking at how we've been influenced, and then with that experimental mindset, getting curious and going, are these stories really true? It's Romans 12 too. It's do not be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the
Yeah.
renewing of our minds. We have to renew our minds because of all of the data that we're taking in from the world around us that has us believing that wine is, or whatever your drink of choice is the thing that connects us. I mean, it's really kind of brilliant because it plays on how God created us to be connected to Him and to other people. And so I think for me, that is the one that
Yeah.
I always come back to as being like the biggest story of all. What a fraud. But it kept me so stuck for so long because I really thought at the same time that it was disconnecting me and connecting me. And so I can say, yeah, it's just that is a huge one. And they make a mistake. Big alcohol knows that. And
Yeah.
so does the evil one. It's going to exploit
Yeah.
that, right? For our demise. But yeah, that I think is something that is huge to pay attention to. It's just like, where do those stories come from? And not that we have to like point fingers, like whatever, but these are things that we came to believe, and then we get to go, is this true? Like where do we go for the truth of that? And that's what,
Yeah.
yeah, what's so great about having the Bible for one, and then also like knowing the truth about how alcohol works on our brains and bodies as well.
Yeah. That's so good. One of the things that I talk about in day 5 is this dopamine cycle, and I think we've talked about this a lot on the podcast, but one of the things that was like total, "Oh my goodness," right? Alcohol's doing what to me? And yeah, and this was the realization when I learned this is that I just could not figure out how to be joyful, get happy, have fun, any of the things unless alcohol was involved. Alcohol was involved in every single thing that we did. Kids are not kids, right? Like the champagne and all the things were flowing at every birthday party, all the things, because how can you have fun without it? And when we learned the science behind this, I was like, well, first of all, first I was like really devastated that I did that to myself. But
Yeah.
then I was okay, well, now I know why I'm feeling this, and now
Yeah.
I can course correct and make it better. And so I actually would love for, because since I've written it, I love the way that when you explain this. Will you explain how alcohol hijacks our dopamine?
Yeah, so the more that we do the thing, the more that we're creating this artificial release of dopamine that we're always chasing. We're getting further and further away from our baseline levels of what things that would be pleasurable, things that would be enjoyable. We're getting further and further away from that the more alcohol or we drink regularly because of that artificial release of the dopamine.
When you get this artificial level of dopamine, what we're not taught is that we get this counteracting chemical, right? Like the dynorphin, which brings you back down because God designed our brains and bodies to operate at a homeostasis with everything being equal. And so the body reacts because the dopamine that we get from wine and alcohol is too high. And so we have this counteracting chemical that brings us down. And so the point of all that is not only are you going up and down, but you need more alcohol than to get up, right? You need more to feel the joy and the high. And so when you get to the point where you're like living just your day-to-day life, you can't access a normal level of joy or dopamine because your body's conditioned to operate at this high artificial level and this back and forth and this pull that ends up going. Anyways, there's so much more about that in day 5.
Yeah.
Let's talk about day 6 and day 7. Day 6 is one of the biggest, most important days. So if you have the book and you've read it and you haven't done day 6, which is go back and figure out why you believe what you believe about alcohol and all the jobs that you're giving to it, please do that because it's so important. It is one of the first exercise I do with all my one-on-one gals is because I love coming back to it then, right? Now we have the beliefs of everything that you believe to be true about what alcohol is giving you, how it's benefiting you, the job, all the way that we say that question. And so that is a really important exercise. And I mean, we've done individual podcasts about all these things, right? Like we believed alcohol was helping us connect. We believed alcohol was helping us rest. We were using it for stress relief and all of that. And so this is a really important exercise because for the remainder of the fast, what you get to do, because it's always a get to, it's not a have to, is you get to challenge these beliefs and where they come from and are they true? And some of them will be easier to overcome and figure out than others. I talk about in the book, the sleep one I really honestly believed, it's funny to me now, but I really believed that 3 massive glasses of red wine, and I would often wake up with a half glass on my nightstand in the morning, really attractive purple teeth, but I thought it was helping me rest. And I did not believe that it was true until I started resting without it and felt that knowing in my soul that alcohol was actually hijacking my sleep, which is a whole other chapter in the book. Then alcohol, I needed it to have fun, and that one took a little more practice. So that is something that we go in really in depth into when we coach through the book in one of our fasts in the community.
Well, because when we're talking about the jobs that we give alcohol, it's easy to think about it in terms, at least I can see now, where in terms of if we have that mindset of here are the jobs that I'm giving it to have fun, to help me sleep, to relax, to unwind, to it's my reward, all of this thing. And then we look at it from that experimental mindset standpoint, that curiosity that says, is that really true? Would I still am you can always still employ that thing like to do the job. But if you were an employer and you had someone doing a job and you hired them for that job and you hire alcohol to do this job, and then you find out like really objectively, does it do it or not? Then you get to decide from there. Like you can still keep doing it. If you're like, yeah, no, actually, it does create all this fun in my life. And so I'm going to keep doing it. I've yet to see anyone say that when they've really done it from this mindset standpoint. But that's the beauty of really paying attention to the why, like what are those stories, what are those beliefs, and coming from that place of curiosity. We'll just say it over and over again. Curiosity,
Yeah.
experimental mindset.
Yeah. I love that. And then day 7, we talk all about finding your why. Why do you want to fast from alcohol? And I go pretty deep into my story here, but this is obviously going to be really personal to you gals. And so the Tina in this chapter is really important. Why do you want to take a break from alcohol? And this is where your journal is going to be your best friend for this one, like most of them. And we've talked about this a lot too, right? It all comes down for us, so much of it, to relationships, how we wanted to show up for our kids and our families. And so that's just like a little overview of day 7. Anything you want to add to that, Guy?
Yeah, no, I think that don't skip it. Like really know why you're looking at this. And then that also feeds helping you create your feeling based goal. It helps put you in that place of like experimental mindset, all of that. So yeah, just take the Tinas seriously. And yeah, it's our key to curiosity, right? Like that's what gets us there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the Tinas are short journaling prompts, most of them at the end of the chapter. And if for some reason because I do this, I listen to everything on Audible. If you get the Audible version of the book and you want to and definitely do this, there's a PDF that you can download with the audio version so that you can really, really dig into these Tinas, because this is where the magic happens. This is what we do when we coach through one of the fasts. It's all Tina led, led by the tiny Tinas, because this is where we get to uncover all of this stuff and start working toward the heart transformation. So yay, aren't you excited? We have 5 more parts. So if we forgot to say anything, we'll get it next time. All right, my beautiful friend, we got to wrap because I'm going to hop into our beautiful community and see our coaching gals, and we will see you next Monday.
Bye.
Before we go, if you're craving real connection and want to talk more about what we've shared today, come join us in the BJDW community. It's where these conversations continue, and we'd love to welcome you in.
You can find all of our podcast episodes at butjesusdrinkwine.com. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at butjesusdrinkwine.
Take a screenshot of this episode and share it with a friend or two.
Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you love what we're doing, we'd be so grateful if you left a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Your reviews help more women who feel stuck and alone in the overdrinking cycle find the hope and encouragement they've been praying for.
Finally, we'd love to shout out the incredible team at Life Audio for their partnership with us at the But Jesus Drank Wine podcast. We invite you, dear listener, to visit lifeaudio.com, where you will find dozens of other faith-centered podcasts in the Life Audio network. Shows about prayer, Bible study, Christian parenting, and more.
Thanks, friend. We appreciate you so much, and we'll see you next week.